Good morning, good afternoon, good day, no matter where you are in the universe. I'm Raven Moonstone, in case you haven't been following along. So I was contemplating what to call this episode while I was sitting here asking my higher self what would be the most appropriate title. So I named it The Blasted Oak. So first of all, I want to say thank you to my friend John, who gave me a card reading this morning from this deck called the Wildwood Tarot. So a lot of people have some weird stuff. They think tarot's all bad and whatever. I believe it's the energy and intention. So if you're calling to your higher self for messages for you or other people, then the energy is going to match that if your intentions are right. If you have not very good intentions, well, what do you think happens? So it's the law of attraction with getting messages from our higher self. So that's all I see tarot with. So I have been wanting this 9-card spread reading from him for a while. And it was really interesting because the first card that appeared was, I have them down here. So I had to take a picture of course, was the Strength card. So everything is kind of really relevant of what my question kind of for myself is for everyone else. But when it was coming to, so the overall reading, the gist of it was, my soul is all about wanting to be a messenger and wanting to not filter, but freely give information. And that's what came up in the card reading. I think it was called something with the water. The moon on water was in my personal soul journey. And that's exactly, I think, what I'm trying to do is take all my struggles and all of my former life lessons and all of my education and everything I've researched and all of my downloads, all of that stuff and spiritual intuition, and help co-create a new reality. So where I was at right now is called the Blasted Oak. So it's very interesting. I need to read it to you because I couldn't stop laughing, to be honest. Because it's kind of where we all are. So I got to find where that card is. The Blasted Oak. Here we go. A figure falls from a severed branch of the lightning struck oak. Flames dance around the falling figure, turning the hair to flame and burning the bonds that appear to have tied the person to the branch. As the figure falls, attached to neither tree nor earth, the powerful lightning energy charges the very air with dancing fingers of light and seeks to earth itself by passing through the figure and shooting from the outstretched fingers that seem to be reaching for the ground. So it is the meaning of it is just as the universe has power to create, so it has the power to destroy. The sudden catabolic power of nature, catastrophe, and disaster is almost imaginable. With the sideways flick of its tail, the hurricane can uproot a bridge just as a shudder in the earth's crust can reduce whole cities to rubble and send tidal shock waves around the earth, around the world. On human level, we build our seemingly indestructible edifices of theory, technical endeavor, and civilization, believing they are immovable and eternal. We wrap ourselves in the trappings of power and position, but in the end, we own nothing. We only borrow for that time we are here. All we have is what we have truly learned. This image combines the two of the traditional tarot card, the Hangman and the Tower. So the Hangman in one of my decks is the Great Awakening, is the Awakening. Oh, I just got goosebumps. And the Tower is all about action. So in this deck here, the Great Forest Oak is shattered by the power of the storm. For those who climb the tree and latch themselves to the branch, they may fall the fall may be long. So think of that in terms of the energy. And it's like if we've stuck on to that narrative of our sturdy oak being rooted so firmly in the ground, and we're not malleable and adaptable to the information that's coming, then it's going to hold us into the material plane. So it's saying, so too the arrogance and pretension of the material life may be torn apart by a single act of nature or fate. But the fire that blasts from the limb and also burns the bonds that have held us in a position of false security. Everyone, we've been like trapped in a false security, thinking, oh, let's pay our taxes and we're going to get our roads fixed and schools will be great. And now we all know the truth about where our money really went. Taxes have never gone to our country, ever. They're a foreign corporation held on the street of London with its own laws. So this has a lot to do with what's going on. Just as the hangman is caught in a state of divine sacrifice and linked to the threefold death, here in the blasted oak, the tree itself is shaken and scarred. Likewise, the tower is shattered by the storm, and believing the illusion of material power can only end in spiritual isolation, stagnation, and collapse. But even as we fall, the power that floods our senses with pain also cleanses and burns away the illusion and falsehoods. As our hands reach for the stable earth, the power grounds itself through us. Our senses are alive with the heat of life. Our emotions are ablaze with passions. Perhaps we've forgotten the intensity of desire, the need to keep struggling for understanding. The essence of true strength and enduring spirit cannot be bought with gold or a position or grandiose esoteric theory. It is found in the ashes and flame of nature's own wild card. So what it basically means, the reading point, what appears to be a random dissolution of destruction of your beliefs and relationships is timely and natural. So the sea swallows up what is built on shifting sand, and you are liberated from being a powerless victim. That's very powerful, because if you think about that in just terms, we have all been captured slaves to our birth certificates in the admiralty and monarchy, with her being an alloidial title. That's ALLOIDAL. That means there's no other landlords on the title but the person who owns it. So if anybody owns land anywhere across the world, we always have the fake lizard was our the head of the title. So she's always had ruler over top of us. We did not have sovereignty. So that's kind of what this is saying. So now you can have a base on which your inner strengths can adapt and evolve. This maybe happens suddenly with shocking speed. I laughed at that. The trauma may leave you stunned and confused, but the fiery blast that sent you falling to earth has also jolted you from a state of trance that allowed you to avoid dealing with profound and fundamental issues. So I even have this within myself, right? So don't be angry or bitter at this passing, for whatever has gone on never really belonged to you. Be patient, wait, and learn from the process of loss. So what this means to me in my now time is that a lot of my cards were talking about being patient in the last few. The last card was abundance. It was everything that I have harvested is about to come to fruition. And the power card was it was the manifestation. I want everybody to be able to co-create this new reality. So looking across the card spread was like strength, manifestation, and abundance, just boom, 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 in a very powerful way. So I ultimately think that's how we're all free from this. We have to get out of that victimhood and clinging to that oak tree that we thought was holding on. We were so solid and so sturdy, and oh my goodness, but then when reality comes to it energetically, with Elizabeth Windsor's death, and going to murderbydecree.com, that is a valid international criminal court guilty verdict on January 15th of 2022. All of these things are lining up with the devolution of our government. The devolution starts with the removal of contracts that no longer apply to any of us in servitude to Her Majesty. I don't think there will be anybody's face on money anymore, because energetically that puts us in a hierarchical place of someone being better than other people. And energetically, that's not love or above. To me, I think, yes, there are people like uh, the military that are all going out there as the head of the storm, if you will, and accomplishing things that I can't even wrap my head around energetically. And then there's people who are the head of the military and things like that. That doesn't make the light workers or the people who are creating these peaceful, or who are going and uh, praying for these people energetically any more, any less. So these are the things that we've learned in the last with from myself anyways, in the last 2.5 years. I've been focusing on how we all come back into a soul journey. We're all meeting here because we're in our former meat suits before. Okay, we all chose this meat suit, we all chose to be here. All the stars are aligning for us to cosmically connect to the places that are of equality and harmony in nature. So, what this um, blasted oak to me represents is the undoing of that energy. And if you still keep trying to hang on to the bark of an oak tree and the financial 3D-ness, instead of detaching energetically from that, even like, no, nobody owns me. I do not consent. Like, that's the first thing you can tell yourself is, I don't consent to enter into any contract, verbal, written, or energetically, physically at all. I don't. And so this is how we can protect ourselves every day, firstly. And secondly, it's detaching you from the lower vibrations of, I just had somebody comment on my Facebook, placing blame. Well, that person listened to that person and they lost their home or whatever because they tried to claim Nasera Jacera. Nasera Jacera isn't something you claim, firstly. It is the National Economic Security and Reformation Act. Now, what needs to happen for that to be activated is all 209 countries that Trump was talking about in 2020 have to agree to peace, no wars, peace. So as you can see, what we have right now is a big movie going on where there is Russia and Ukraine, and Biden's mentioning nuclear stuff. This has to trigger an event so we can detach from, this is the storm, this is what's all happening, and it's going to come, and it's going to come fast. It's literally going to hit us so fast on October 1st. That is the beginning of the new financial quarter. So all of this energetic attachment to these contracts where the signatory master speller has now been, it's removed. So her head has been on all of that money, energetically somehow tied into the stock market. The Corporation of Canada has been bought and sold on the stock exchange. So a lot of people can't see that China had started owning Canada. We were being bought and sold, like, that's why we have so many things like all these box stores. That's why all of this stuff had to be shown to us. We had to be shown how corrupt our country was. I didn't even know how corrupt our country was until 2 years ago. I was like, mother of all things holy, it's disgusting. I felt sick. Like, I felt disgusted. So I want to mention some things, and thank you Andrea, Taco Spice, I like to call her. Excellent researcher. She posted that BlackRock is now bankrupt and Vanguard is now bankrupt. And why are those two companies so important? Because they literally hold shares to every single corporation on our planet without question. And who are behind those companies? Well, guess you can never imagine. So when you see those companies bankrupt, and you see that the Citibank was sold off in 2018, and I think MasterCard company was sold off in 2018. All of these CEOs in the last 3 years have stepped down or been replaced or been arrested for pedophilia. There's a huge bunch of stuff being said at Disney now, finally coming out about all like how many people are linked. The most reported sexual offenders have worked at Disney, I think, in Florida. I think that's an actual statistic, no lie. Like that's a common knowledge thing. So there's a lot of things that we are now seeing happen, and that's to dissolve that old hierarchical system of people putting celebrities on platforms and pedestals, and even the Pope, like all of this stuff. Unfortunately, people who are Catholic, who are not aware or accepting of the Pope being a bad person, they need to see some of this stuff in their consciousness. This is what they signed up for. So we all signed up for it. And that's another thing, just tying into my last video that I did, and I was talking about blacklist. There are so many references even to people trying to blow up artifacts from the Catholic Church. Like, come on, man. Like, it's overwhelming. Like, it's literally overwhelming, the information that we're gonna see. And the fact that Trump is retweeting Q posts and Q music and has that all in his background, and none of the mainstream questioning him on the fact that I can even say those words on here without being blue screen flash, green screen flash, pause, have my video taken down is amazing. So these are my questions. Obviously, the energy changed as soon as the reptilian died, or was listed dead, even though they said she was laying in rest for 4 years. Like, aren't you guys enjoying this kind of movie? Like, I certainly am. I can't even sometimes go on Telegram for days because I'm like, it's almost like I'm reliving 30 months ago or 36 months ago or 911 days ago of in the last, whatever, and laughing now. It's like almost become a comedic thing where like you see your timelines overlapping. So this is kind of where we're at now. How are you going to be hanging on to the barked oak? Are you going to hang on, or are you going to let those lessons cleanse you? Or are you going to let that shower cleanse you and you're just going to see life anew? Because this is energetically, it's, everybody's like, oh, we're waiting for September 24th. How do we know what happened yesterday around the world? We don't. We don't, just like we don't know of a lot of things. So a lot of things could have energetically happened, and that will affect Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Like that energy of those contracts, the spells had to be undone. So I did a video describing kind of what Kimberly Ann had said about the old system looking like the Star of David. So there's your money, and then there's your computer information. So when you connect those at the Star of David, where they meet is where they talk, and there's their black magic on each one. So if the banks are saying, the bricks need to go here and here and here, what's happening in this next week is that all deposits are being called. Like, people are going to go get their money out of the bank in cash and try and convert it. Like, there is already that going on in China for over a month now. Just because you haven't heard about it doesn't mean it ain't happening. They had put, I think it was like blue stickers on people and on like over their accounts. So these people were all truth tellers of some description, and they wouldn't let them get their money out. And so there's like military tanks and stuff called again to help these people out, get their money. So we are going to see some of this happening, but I want you, as you know, that we expected a lot of this to happen. People will have a little bit of panic or a lot of panic, depends on how they're clinging to the materialistic world. Now, to me, I look at the end of September as and beginning of October, if we're behind 2 weeks in the Julian calendar, this is the biggest time of abundance and harvest for people. People have a lot of food. Like here in Canada, we have squash, potatoes, like you name it, come carrots, beets, everything. We can make borscht for the whole country. And wheat and all of this. The trains are constantly going by. It's a very, very busy time for harvest. So we are sitting in this abundance already, knowing that we are abundant and knowing that we are responsible for co-creating that heaven on earth. Are you going to participate in the fearsome vibrations, or are you going to lead as an example, knowing that we have more than we need? We have way more than we need. I don't believe in the fear of anything, really. And part of my card reading was about that, is how I'm not how I'm not really applying my struggles much as I should, I guess, because I've detached from a lot of it, like the money energetically. So as you know, I'm trying to get into this new place, and not I'm kind of trying to manifest it, but also am I like manifest it so there are no contracts attached to it, because I'm not buying into the bullshit that the insurance company is trying to sell right now. It's ridiculous. So, and I've heard that, and think about insurance companies for a moment. If insurance companies in 2 months have almost doubled their rates on some of the people, right, that are around, let's just use our heads logically. Say I have my house insured for, let's just use an easy number, $100,000. And they're coming to us and saying, you need to pay $5,000 for your $100,000 home to be rebuilt. Okay. Because the price of lumber or whatever went up. Wait a second. I'm still only getting 100 grand. So if the price of lumber went up, most likely my house is going to be half the size. Like it's not, because so what I see, because I used to work in the mortgage industry, I've worked in the insurance business. What I see is the scrambling of what they used to do is take your mortgage money. So you have $100,000 mortgage at 5% for 25 years amortization. Every 5 years that comes up for renewal. So for the first 5 years, let's just play this game. Your mortgage payments are $500. Let's just make it simple. So out of those 25 years, you are paying interest for the first 17 years, because what happens is mortgage company ABC sells it to insurance company DEF. And insurance company DEF invests it in stocks, bonds, stuff in the stock market. So when they have huge insurance claims, which they never do because they always say no, they can go pull it. They're always making money. Go look at the 5 or 6 most profitable businesses in the world, and it's pharmacy, oil, and then insurance is like right up there somewhere, because their intention, if you try and go get that original mortgage document from ABC after, say, your 4th year, I don't think they could actually find anything where you signed anything, because they only service that piece of paper. They've sold off the loan so they can make money. So the ABC can make more money. Like it's all a Ponzi scheme in a pyramid. It's a pyramid scheme. So it's no different than mafia loaning. So I went and plunked in some numbers the other day just for shits and giggles. Like if this house was $100,000 and I had XYZ. So I figured out a mortgage. I think it was $72,000 mortgage, which is a line of credit for most people, let's be honest. And a $72,000 mortgage at 6% interest for 30 years. What do you guys think you pay in interest? This is how bad it is. Okay? Keep in mind, the house is only worth $100,000. You pay $85,000 in interest. So your $100,000 house just became a $155,000 house just by you signing that contract. So these are the programs that we need to stop feeding into. So I lived mortgage free in 2010, 2011. I went and lived in the middle of Manitoba, bought a house for $50,000 cash. I really worked the system so I could do that. And I was bankrupt, like literally in 2005. No lie. I went bankrupt in 2005. I'm like, I don't need to pay your money anymore. Forget it. I don't care. I just had cancer and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I don't subscribe to that. So I was able to buy a mortgage-free house. When I didn't owe anything, my life was like a totally different way of living. I didn't have to work as hard. I didn't have to expend so much energy. I didn't have to do this, this, and this. Well, what happens if those contracts all fell apart and all of a sudden there's something that did wipe out those debts? So let's say if the mortgage is calling for the insurance and the insurance is calling for, the deposit insurance. So say they go look for all this money in the bank and there isn't any, because money is only created when a loan is created. Let me repeat that. Money is only generated and made when a debt is made. End of story. That is as easy as it gets. So if your boss didn't have to pay you the $30,000 that you're making or whatever, there would be no reason for that money. If you didn't have to pay your bills, there'd be no reason for that money. But if we're all just exchanging energy on love and above, like just to feed and on, it's a different way, heaven on earth. Like, why would we make people pay to eat or live somewhere if the prices of houses just crashed in half? If we didn't have any debts, like, why would any of that old energy of, oh my God, my house was worth $300,000 and now it's only worth $150,000? Well, you don't have to pay $300,000 in insurance. I mean, in mortgage or insurance for that matter, because it's not energetically tied to that anymore. So I would rather live with 1950s prices where everybody had a home, everybody had access to a vehicle, everybody had food in their bellies and clean water and all of the technology that has been repressed through NESARA, GESARA. Like the dark has kept these things from it, and NESARA, GESARA releases it. So now we have ways to clean up our drinking water and doing all of this stuff. We don't have to spend money of our own money or energy to do it because we have the technology to do it. So that's why I'm saying, how hard are we hanging on to gold? How hard are we hanging on to silver? How hard are we hanging on to oh my God, I got to hoard away so much food, or oh my God, I got to do this, this, and this, or like, honestly, I thought I would have more weed on me or more coffee or whatever closer to the end of our money system. I'm like, guess this is it. This is what it's gonna look like. Like, because we are abundant, because we can co-create and manifest. So I got a really beautiful compliment, and thank you. I don't remember your name who left it on my last YouTube, telling me how powerful I am and why it literally was the most, it brought me to tears. I don't even want to think about it in a way because I don't want to start crying on YouTube, but thank you. I appreciate it. But so are you. All of us are. And that's the positivity about sitting in love, is recognizing that in other people and helping other people do that. Like, if we're not clinging to the blasted oak and we're letting that energy cleanse us of all that destruction that we've been through billions and billions of years over and over, our avatar keeps getting killed up. And here we are again. Dang it, I'm almost there. And think of these people who have have been the tip of the sword, and leading troops over and over again, like George S. Patton, and then getting back to the start again, just so they could take out AI. It is that easy. We're here to fight the evil AI. We do not believe in infiltration of, that's what we're here to protect. So, but and I got a message about everybody in my reading about waiting for. Patience is something that we should all be tapping into and being present and knowing when we're getting through that urgency of how when in our I kind of laugh about it now because we lead such an organic community life that we're like, oh, I wonder if I was always like this, or if that person, there's always somebody who always arrives in their own time, you know, and I believe in everything in divine timing. So even me being like, I gotta be there 15 minutes early and I gotta do this and like all, OCD about everything. I'm like, that's a program. That is a program. We are exactly where we're supposed to be. And we should be working on the true ability to co-create and love. So if you're still sitting there going, so and so said to not do this and I did it and I lost that, or if you're blaming someone else for your own shit, that's your shit, dude. No offense. I love you, but I just don't care. Like, people have been on me for 2.5 years about my opinion. Why are you still watching? Is my question. I love you, but I don't care. So we all have to get to the point where we're not allowing negative entities and energies constantly be the controlled opposition in our lives. We should be focusing on the abundance that we have and how much stuff we have and how much love we have for each other. Like, honestly, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys. I really wouldn't. I really am so grateful. Every time I go do my show, I'm like, oh man, I hope I say the right things for the right ears. And please let me co-create this show where I'm just used as a vessel. I just want people to get the information. And what doesn't stick with you, I've been saying this for a long time. If somebody's information isn't your vibration, why do you keep watching? That seems like so redundant and ridiculous. Like, I've never figured that out. Oh, I'm waiting to see the shit show. I've gotten that a couple of times on my Facebook. Well, gee, now that all this stuff is coming true, what we thought, I don't want to be bothered to go and say I told you so, because that's shaming, blaming, guilt, and all that poop. And I love people, but at the very beginning, people were doing that to me. So I just found it really easy to block their energy, you know, and and get rid of things that no longer serve us anymore, right? So that to me has what this journey has been about, is literally one big blasted oak. Like, holy moly. So I'm grateful to, let me just read these people that made this deck: Mark Ryan and John Matthews, the Wildwood Tarot. It was a really good reading. Thank you, John. It comes up on the bottom at 77 people watching. Oh, my connection was unstable. It's only because I'm far away from the motor, the thing, not because they're trying to shut me down. So I'm just going to do my own little card reading today. Card reading. And I like to have a couple of cards. I will laugh if a couple of the same ones came out from earlier. I always think it's funny. It's like, all right, okay, hurry it up along. So the first card we got is risk. This is always what I see, like, when we're getting a lot of flack. Oh, September 24th came and went, nothing happened. It's like risking everything, right? And the Grail is a knight seeking the sacred and illusion and romance. I keep getting romance cards. Whoops, let me move this closer, see if that helps. Sorry, I'm just so I can get better reception, which is boundaries, being healthy, and then the spider, creative projects. And I look at creative projects literally as a creation card. Like you're supposed to be um, seeking the sacred through your healthy boundaries and lifestyles. And let's talk about healthy boundaries too. Right now is a time where it's easy to take on other people's emotions, and it's easy to take on other people's crap. So please start grounding yourself more than ever to help you weather this upcoming storm. I know there's even not everybody's going to be in your timeline. That's okay. Not everybody's going to be exactly where you are. Thank goodness for that. Sometimes it is overwhelming, and strong for people when they're coming around. This is the time where I think we're all going to be called upon in these next few months. Like there is going to be panic, there is going to be pandemonium, and just keep yourself in a healthy heart space. It all has to come from unconditional love, knowing that we're all one, and what people are yelling at you or giving their opinion on in a negative way is just projections. This is why I don't get enveloped in, sometimes I do laugh still. I see on light workers leaving comments about somebody getting themselves in shape. Who cares? Why is the actual meat suit of any relevance right now? This is my question. Whether it be what color you are, how big you are, how tall you are, it's of zero relevance in my, like, I just don't get that's where some of people are stuck right now. So be healthy with yourself and be mindful with yourself. So just started glitching as soon as you talked about AI. Yeah. Yeah, and oh yes, that's the other thing last night, and I'm going to say it out loud. The One of the senators has called out Biden's impeachment, so it is coming. Nothing can stop what is coming. That's what I believe. Anyways, so everybody love yourself first. Love yourself. Put your oxygen mask on first and know where you are in this storm, because the storm is here. And I'm so excited. And whether your reality has created seeing all the things that are being played out, or whether you can only ingest bits of it, it doesn't matter. It's all good. You're exactly where you should be, and just be there to help out each other. So I love you guys. I'm so happy to be alive during this time. And I do think we're going to a lot of activity this week, especially financially, because there's going to be a dunk, 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 dunk hat. So, yeah. Ta-da-ta, waiting to reconnect again as soon as I talked about that stuff again. So, anyways, love to everybody. Have a great day. I'm sitting here enjoying my late all day. It's beautiful, it's bright, and yeah, I just love you all. I'm so grateful. Very grateful.